Hey everybody, today I'm going to talk about the 1975 Italian sex comedy, The Nurse, directed by Nello Rossati. Okay, The Nurse is the kind of film that, if you're old enough, you may have seen on Cinemax back in the early 1980s at about 2 a.m. under the title The Sensuous Nurse, or maybe even at a drive-in theater in the years before that. The film is presented as the first-person narrative of an older gentleman who is the patriarch of a family vineyard and wine business in northern Italy. And this guy has had a heart attack recently and is now bedridden and kind of a vegetable. And basically his entire extended family is waiting for him to die so that they can inherit control of this business and immediately sell it out to cigar-smoking American tycoon named Mr. Kitsch. So when our protagonist fails to die quickly, the family hatches a plan to help nature take its course by hiring a voluptuous nurse played by the statuesque Ursula Andress to take care of him and send him to his grave by provoking sexual desire that his decrepit body can't handle. The plot of The Nurse is, of course, ridiculous. Even the title is ridiculous, although to be fair, in Italian it's just called The Nurse. But that's all part of the fun. It's a shining example of what the Italians called la commedia sexy all'italiana, or Italian sex comedy. And this was a genre of film that doesn't exist anymore and spanned only from about 1971 to about 1981, and this type of movie filled a niche before explicit nudity was common in mainstream Italian cinema, and also before the advent of the explicitly pornographic films that flourished in X-rated theaters and on home video beginning in the 1980s. These Italian sex comedies were somewhat transgressive for the time, but they are mild and tasteful compared to the stuff that came after them. And this genre almost seems quaint today. It's comparable to what you would have seen in a Playboy magazine from that time, for example. There is full female nudity, but there's no explicit activity shown. The two ladies who are showcased in The Nurse are both stunning, but they are very different types of beauty, and they are perfect complements to each other. The nurse of the title is played by Swiss actress and former Bond girl Ursula Andress, who was actually pushing 40 years old when this film was made, and she may be the only member of the cast whose actual voice you hear in the English language version, other than that of Jack Palance, who plays Mr. Kitsch. The other sex object in this film is a much lesser known but equally beautiful Italian actress named Carla Romanelli, who played the housemaid in the film. Though the Italian sex comedies were primarily seen as entertainment for men, you can learn a lot about what Italian society was like back then by watching movies like this. The overall theme is hypocrisy, and all the bedrock institutions of Italian society are mercilessly held up for ridicule. Family, patriotism, honor, marriage, the church, morals in general, all these things are jokes, and pretty much everybody in the film is a scheming liar who is just out for him or herself. The film is set mainly in and around the city of Treviso, which at the time was a Catholic stronghold in Italy, and this choice of setting would have enhanced the ironic impact of the humor in this movie. The characters are absurd caricatures of the types of people that they represent. There's the voluptuous nurse, of course. There's the American douchebag tycoon. There's the sexy housemaid. There's the fascist ex-military uncle, etc. However, you will notice that there are no male characters conforming to the Latin lover stereotype in this film. On the contrary, the men are often goofy-looking guys who play pathetic and inept characters, and their behavior around the women is akin to a kid in a candy store. They make jackasses out of themselves in response to the overpowering presence of these beautiful women. In particular in this genre, there's a lot of poking fun at older men whose sexual desire still leads them around, but whose bodies are, let's say, no longer up to the job. One of the many endearing qualities of The Nurse is that the film slowly wins you over by making you laugh at the absurdity of the situations, the behavior of the characters, and really at the film itself. And then you start to laugh at yourself for having laughed at this film to begin with. There is some genuinely funny stuff in this movie, including the sarcastic first-person narration of the film's elderly male protagonist. One of the things that is really striking is the camera work in this film. It has a distinctly pleasant, soft focus haziness that creates a kind of timelessness, almost a dreamlike feel. This is the trademark of cinematographer Ennio Guarnieri, and Guarnieri used this style of photography in many films where critics thought it was inappropriate, but for this film it is absolutely perfect, and it beautifully captures the really attractive Italian settings. If you've seen Vittorio De Sica's 1970 film The Garden of the Finzi Continis, which is a serious film about an Italian Jewish family in the 1930s, that film was shot by Guarnieri and has a very similar setting and visual style. And it works really well there too to create a sense of timelessness and nostalgia. The Nurse is mostly set in the Veneto region of northern Italy, with a few scenes in Venice, but the locations shooting is really just gorgeous and worth watching just for that. Okay, that's it for The Nurse. Do check this film out. It's a lot of fun to watch, and the visual style and the music really capture a distinctive mid-1970s vibe that is very appealing and a reminder of just how much our tastes and attention spans have changed since that time. Thank you for watching. I'm Rod Richards. See you next time.